Hello, everyone, and welcome to something that's a little bit different. We haven't really been able to hit a podcast up lately, so here is Downtown Rams live. For those of you who saw or didn't see, Case Keenum really hurt them. His ability as a veteran and the way he, to not turn the ball over has been what's kind of kept him as the starter, in my personal opinion. I think this game really shows you that Jared Goff could be on the way. It's not all on Keenum, but the majority of it is. And he went 21 of 31 for 271 yards. He threw 2 interceptions. His stats end up not looking horrible if you don't count the interceptions. But it's still he's just not the guy. But the run was definitely an issue, stopping the run, and Michael Brocker's not being there was obviously the main reason. But then, when the time came at the end of the game, when you're thinking, oh, well, the Rams, they need a turnover, they've been able to do it, seems like all year, and they weren't able to get the turnover. Robert Quinn in that situation, maybe he gets the edge, punches the ball out of Tyrod Taylor. They definitely missed Quinn. That is a fact, I would definitely say. So, Quinn was out. You touched on him. Just touched on Brockers. Now Hayes. And Hayes finishes plays. He brings similar pressure, to what Chris Long did during his time with the Rams. But the fact of the matter is that Case Keenum can win you a football game if the Rams defense, the mob squad, comes to play.
Hello, guys, and welcome back to another Downtown Rams Facebook Live. See, our defense does need some help, but as my father and I, who we actually both put together an article for you guys on the Wade Phillips article that's out. Him and I both worked on that. He worked on the statistical end, and I worked on just my writing. That's what I do, and he knows statistics. So we did that, and what we came down to the conclusion was Wade Phillips' defense in the past, and he's worked with 34 different times as either a head coach or a defensive coordinator, 34 years. So in the past, it takes about week 5, week 6 to really see serious improvement. I gotta tell you, don't look at last year. This 3-1 team is a lot different than the 3-1 team a year ago. Can you make the argument for David Johnson? Absolutely. I love David Johnson. I think he's a fantastic player. But out of sight, out of mind. He's not on the field. And it's killing Arizona. Todd Gurley is just, he had over 200 all-purpose yards today. Just fantastic showing from him. Really good to see. And man, does this really looks bad on Jeff Fisher, I gotta tell you. I'm not gonna sit here and trash the guy, but Case Keenum, you're seeing him look good in Minnesota. They almost won that game. You're seeing Jared Goff improve, and you're seeing Todd Gurley improve. And I think one thing you're seeing, and I saw this today, Robert Woods, when he made that nice catch on a slant to pick up the first down, that was an option route, and basically, he read the guy that was covering him, and he decided, I can either go right up field or I can push this inside. Linebacker kind of sagged off in the middle of the field, and he ended up making the slant. You could see the hesitation, and then he read the defense, made the slant, perfect security blanket for Goff, and that was huge. That was one of the 7 field goals from Greg Zuerlein. That doesn't happen if the Rams don't have Robert Woods make that nice play. Where do I go from there? That I was going to bring up Kenny Britt. This is why, guys, that the Rams brought in Robert Woods. This is why they got Sammy Watkins. And this is why they drafted Cooper Kupp. These guys are very intelligent. They're very football intelligent. They have tons of knowledge. And I think when you look at what Robert Woods did on that play, just a small sample size, but I was blown away because Kenny Britt can't do that. Kenny Britt became a deep threat. He's just this big guy that runs down the field, catches passes, 6'3" guy that runs a 4.5. You're seeing all different types of things. So I think that's one thing that can't be stressed enough. I think you have a lot of intelligent football players on this team. Welcome back, guys, to another Downtown Rams podcast. This time it's going to be live. I'm on Facebook Live right now and Spreaker as well. This is a pregame show right before the Rams and Raiders game at 10:20. I have the Jets and Lions game on right now. It looks like the Jets are up 31-17. So, real quick, inactives today, the notable ones, John Kelly, the rookie 6th-round pick out of Tennessee, very impressive during the preseason. He's going to be out today, as well as the starting linebacker Mark Barron. Unfortunately, he's been battling some ankle issues, and he's going to be out. So that leaves, another rookie, Sebastian Joseph Day, out of Rutgers, a 7th-round pick. He's going to be out, nose tackle, as well as last year's 6th-round pick out of Tulane, Tanzel Smart. You'll also see Justin Davis out for this game, former UDFA last year out of USC. So the Rams are only going to bring 2 running backs into this game, Todd Gurley and Malcolm Brown, 2015 UDFA out of Texas. So, that'll be interesting. I can imagine you'll see some Pharaoh Cooper, the receiver slash running back that the Rams drafted back in 2016 out of South Carolina. Pharaoh Cooper's more filled out as a 5'10", 5'11" guy. He's a great returner, obviously an all-pro in his own right, but he was used a lot as a running back in college, so it'll be interesting to see if he's technically the 3rd guy, now assuming that Tavon Austin role. Look forward to seeing guys that weren't on the team last year. Rams fans, if you're watching the game right now, you're looking at the fact that, Trumaine Johnson just had an interception for the Jets earlier in the game. He's no longer on the Rams. The Rams went out and they traded for Aqib Talib, a 5th-rounder for him. They traded a couple picks, including a 2nd-rounder this upcoming year, for Marcus Peters out of Kansas City. So then they didn't stop there. They signed Ndamukong Suh, the big marquee signing, after the Dolphins let him go. And then you had pretty much, the Rams decided to throw caution to the wind and make that big, monumental trade. They were interested in OBJ for a while, Odell Beckham Jr. from the New York Giants. That fell through, so they made a trade for Brandon Cooks. They traded a 1st-round pick for him, and very excited to see what he can do. Brandon Cooks joins a pretty stacked receiver group. Robert Woods, the 25-year-old who the Rams got in free agency out of Buffalo. And then Cooper Kupp, the 3rd-rounder who they drafted from Eastern Washington. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all 3 of them.
All right. So not ideal at all for the playoff picture. That pretty much makes, the Rams need a little help to the Rams need a ton of help. And it's actually not as bad as you would think. The Vikings just need to lose to the Green Bay Packers next week, which is definitely possible. And, lose week 17 to the Chicago Bears, which is definitely possible because I think they're playing some good football right now. But that means the Rams have to beat the 49ers coming off a loss in the final seconds of the game. And, a Cardinals team that they played earlier in the year, but at the same time, the Cardinals now know a little bit more about the Rams and new coach, Cliff Kingsbury. So just to talk about this game, we won't get too much into it. I don't want to go on for too long. But, basically, this is just, it's unacceptable. I mean, that's obvious, but, it just kind of goes back to the fact this has been the Rams. They blew it. Many games this year, they should have beat Seattle in Seattle. They should have beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They should have beat Tampa Bay, coming back at the end and, of course, blowing it. But this is the 3rd game, with or without Jalen Ramsey. This is the 3rd game where the Rams have gotten blown up. Their defense has just not been able to compete. And they, got blown out. And really what this means here to me is that, it's erratic behavior. Wade Phillips, his scheming is very inconsistent. I think Aubrey Pleasant has to be the defensive coordinator next year. I know Alexis has brought it up on the podcast, but I make the argument you can move away from the 3-4. And I think really the fact of the matter is the Rams have a lot of questions and not enough answers. Right now, they don't have a first-round pick, so you're suffering through all this. They now have to kind of, have a miracle in a sense to make the playoffs, win the next two, and have the Vikings lose the next two. But the fact is, basically, they won't have a first round pick. Their head coach is still letting that Super Bowl loss beat him over and over and over again throughout the season after. Jared Goff is not playing like the franchise quarterback the Rams thought he was going to be. And I think the Rams have a legitimate question at the franchise quarterback position. I don't know if they have one on the roster. And of course, regardless if he was hurt or not, I just think, he's been lackluster all season.
All right. Well, let's talk about the good before we talk about the bad. The Rams went down 28-3. And on the road, second straight game on the East Coast where they had to go cross country. And because of the COVID rules, they couldn't stay out there. So it was actually, after playing the Philadelphia Eagles and then, initially before COVID, they were supposed to play the Philadelphia Eagles, stay out there on the East Coast, get adapted, and then play the Bills game. So they weren't able to do that because of COVID, which is a bummer. But the Rams came out, they looked good. The first drive of the game, they stall out the Bills. They hold them to a 3-and-out. Look really good to start. Darrell Henderson has no problem running down this Bills defense throat. And the Rams are about to get, the first points on the board. They get stalled out a little bit past midfield. And then Sam Sloman misses the field goal. Shocker, I know. And after he misses the field goal, it seemed like, the Bills, and the way football is with momentum, it exists. The Bills take that, and they march down the field, and they score a touchdown. And then after that, the Rams put somewhat of a fight. They look like they're moving the football, but they can't get in the end zone for some reason. So that was the 28-3. And this would have been the biggest comeback in Rams history. Now, the Rams are 27-0 when leading at halftime. They were not leading at halftime. The Bills, I believe, are 20-1, now 21-1, leading at halftime. Credit to Sean McDermott. He had a plan coming in, didn't allow those bubble screens to really affect, their defense. I thought Jared Goff did a nice job of bouncing back from an ill-advised throw to Van Jefferson earlier in the game. He threw it right into the grasp of Levi Wallace. It wasn't a good, it was an off-platform throw that didn't need to be off-platform. It was a very, unbalanced throw, not great mechanics. So, I look at that and I watch, the way Goff bounces back for a 321 yard, 3 total touchdown game. I'm impressed. I think Goff bounced back. I thought he gave the Rams an opportunity to win. Unfortunately, the Rams fall short here, 35-32. They take the lead in the late going. They score 15 points in the fourth, and now we can talk about it. It's not gonna, I understand the bias is gonna show here because I have Rams right on my jersey here, but what it comes down to. Right here, actually. What it comes down to is, Josh Allen played a hell of a game, when his receivers were wide open. The Rams, I don't know why they played off man so much, to start the game, but they did, and Josh Allen picked them apart. But when things got tough, Josh Allen with his, 4 sacks and 37, sack yards as well. He lost 37 yards out of them. In having two turnovers, the fumble and then the interception. I wasn't impressed with Josh Allen in the second half. Let's just call it like it is. The Rams were absolutely robbed in the final 30 seconds of this game. We have our Final Four in each conference after tonight's game. And it is weird how the playoffs, it's big, but then it starts to really, come together and get a lot smaller. So just, really looking forward to, seeing how things play out. Whether it's going to be Jared Goff or John Wolford is kind of up in the air. I'm not really sure. I do know that Aaron Rodgers is going to end up playing, obviously, for the Packers. The Packers defense has looked good as of late. I think they're starting to get things together, so they should be a scary team coming off a bye. Or, they could come out flat because of the bye. But it is going to be in Lambeau. They do have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And then for Kansas City, same difference. Although their defense, I don't think, got better. They didn't get, a lot like Green Bay. But, obviously they can put up the points that, are necessary. And I think, when you look at the AFC, there's a huge thing here where the NFC, you don't really know who the top dog is. You don't even know who's good and who's bad because right now, I don't trust the Saints. The Rams defense can win them any game, but, you do have question marks at quarterback. And then, the Packers, they're playing well. But aside from that, like Tampa Bay, I just don't think there's a clear-cut dog in the fight. And I've said this for a while. I do not think that there's a clear-cut 100% number one team in this league this year. It's very weird. I know a lot of people would gravitate towards Kansas City. I wouldn't be shocked personally if Lamar Jackson and company go to Kansas City and win. I think the Ravens are one of the toughest teams right now and not a team you want to play. I don't think anybody wants to play the Rams defense. I don't think anybody wants to play Aaron Rodgers. I don't think many people want to play Josh Allen, but I will say, Josh Allen against the Colts seemed beatable, and they could have won that game. At the end of the day, the Colts had an opportunity. So you see all sorts of things go on in the postseason when things start to matter, and it's definitely all very interesting for sure. Just real quick, I wanted to let you guys know, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the AJ Show. Adam and I are doing, as much as we can. We actually leased an office, which I'm in right now, kind of our studio. And we're going to be coming to you live from YouTube and all platforms, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time every single Saturday. You worry about the NFL season being over? No worries. We'll still be covering the NFL draft. We look forward to having a draft live stream during that. So it should all be very, very interesting. I'm really just impressed by just the amount of people that have, subscribed to this channel. The comments, people digging my Star Wars stuff. So, I do appreciate it and I do see it. So I can't stress that enough. It is cool to have that. But this is just the start. I started this about a month ago, and at the end of the day, I feel really good about this moving forward. I don't know what the future holds as far as, this YouTube channel, but I'm trying my best to, make this as good as it can for you guys. This isn't going to be a long time thing. I'm not going to be doing a ton of live streams or anything like that. But I definitely wanted to give it a shot and, see if, maybe it was the right thing to do. I see there's 24 people watching right now. So clearly there's something going on.
Welcome in, guys. This is JE Live and Jake Ellenbogen, of course, hosting JE Live. And we are here to talk about the fact that, it is not 2019, folks. You didn't just wake up and lose 3 years and go backwards. Eric Weddle has joined the LA Rams in their hunt for the Super Bowl. As we know, Eric Weddle was famously with the Rams in 2019. He signed on. He ended up being their captain. He ended up, starting for them the first 8 games of that season. He led all safeties and tackles, and down the stretch, he just started to wear down a little bit. And, Taylor Rapp eventually became the starter in his place. Now, Taylor Rapp is hurt, so in steps Eric Weddle to add some depth to the safety room. You still have Terrell Burgess. You still have Nick Scott But that's pretty much it. Jake Gervais is on the practice squad. The Rams lost Juju Hughes to the Lions when they tried to revert him back to the practice squad. The Lions claimed him, and furthermore, when they let go of J.R. Reed earlier in the year, trying to get him back on the practice squad, the Giants signed him. So they were kind of left in a weird position late in the season. You can't go out and get those guys. You can't go and take a practice squad guy and add him to your roster because it doesn't work that way. You're now in the playoffs. So all you can do, all you have at your disposal is what's on your team currently and what is in free agency. And so the Rams had that opportunity. They were able to go out and get Weddle. Could have gone out and gotten Trey Boston, who is a UDF is a free agent right now. They could have gone out and gotten Earl Thomas, but I think really what it came down to was Jalen Ramsey loves Eric Weddle. They have a very good connection there, and furthermore, to add on to it, you're talking about the fact they have the familiarity with him. I mean, he's been with this some of this coaching staff anyway. Obviously, Coach Evero knows him.
What is up, guys? Welcome back, JE Live here, and it's been a minute, but we are back, and we have some news. Man, we have some news. Allen Robinson, the wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams, as long as he passes a physical, will be traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the deal right now, we're getting some knowledge in from at Spotrack on Twitter. Allen Robinson holds 2 years, $25.75 million left on his contract, including $10 million in 2023, which is fully guaranteed, and $15.75 million in 2024, which isn't guaranteed. The Rams are taking on $16.45 million of dead cap in this trade, and they're only freeing up $1.6 million. So, really, at the end of the day, this is not a cap dump, and that means that we could see a decent trade package, so to speak, for Allen Robinson. I'm not expecting something big, right? I'm not expecting something, ginormous, but I think for those of you that are wondering what this ends up being, I think this could be a legitimate fourth-round pick.